Hi, Michael Yardney, and welcome to another Rich Habits, Poor Habits webcast with my good friend Tom Corley. Welcome, Tom.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Now, we've together written a lot about the concept of why the rich become richer, the successful become more successful. You've written many books, so have I. But our joint book recently has been going gangbusters in the United States, in Australia, and in other parts of the world as well. So over these future weeks, we're going to be sharing some of the ideas we've written in Rich Habits, Poor Habits. But if our viewers want to find out a bit more about it, just go to richhabitspoorhabits.com and you can get the book and you can have it delivered to your door. But today, Tom, I'd like to discuss the concept of self-awareness, because that's one of the underlying principles of our Rich Habits studies, that people to change, to get a better life, to do better, first of all, have to have an understanding of where they are, what's going on. So most of what we do is at a subconscious level. You don't even know what's going on. So how do you become aware of what's driving your life and the habits that you've got, Tom?
Well, awareness you have to forge it as a habit. And so, what I like to do is, tell my readers and my listeners, you have to ask yourself questions. You have to sit and think about your life and ask yourself questions. What is your life going the way you want it to go? Could you be doing things better? Or do you have the right habits that will enable you to achieve the goals that you're setting? So, there's awareness starts with self-reflection, which means you have to sit down and think. And thinking is sometimes the hardest thing for people to do. And yet then you have to ask yourself questions. And there are specific questions, and we're going to cover some of them, I think.
Sure. So the concept really is you've got to, first of all, be aware of your empowering beliefs and your disempowering beliefs, your rich habits and your poor habits. Then you've got to remove some of the poor habits and replace them with rich habits and more empowering beliefs. So to get an understanding of what's going on and why you are where you are in your life, because let's be blunt, you are where you are because of all the decisions you've chosen to make and the decisions you've chosen not to make. What are some of those blunt questions you can ask yourself, Tom?
Well, the one I would start out with, because it's so important, is who are my mentors? Why is this so important? It's important because in my research, I found that the fast track to becoming wealthy was to find a success mentor. So if you ask yourself the question, who are my mentors? And if you don't have any good answer, well, guess what? You've got a problem there, because you don't have anybody mentoring you. Why are mentors so important? Mentors are important because what's your fallback? Your fallback is to make mistakes, to have failures, to learn from those mistakes and those failures. Why do that? Why not just get a mentor, somebody who's done whatever it is that you're trying to do? For us, let's use the metaphor of writing a book. Well, we both wrote books, but let's pretend one of us wrote a book. Well, and the other one says, hey, Michael, how do you even start the whole book writing process? How do you get it published and all this stuff? And then you're able to gather that information, and the mentors will tell you what to do, what not to do. It's like a road. They pave it for you. Instead of it being filled with boulders and obstacles, mentors smooth out the path to success.
They'll show you where the traps are, where the landmines are, and you can follow their path and walk around them. Mentors also have unreasonable conversations with you. They see your blind spots. But I want to make it clear that mentors don't actually tell you what to think. A good mentor is actually going to teach you how to think. So they're going to just make you think in a different way. So that's a really good question. Who are my mentors? Because in general, you are very much like the people you hang around with, which I guess is probably another question you should ask. Who do you hang around with, and what are my relationships with them like?
Yeah, the big question here I would ask is do I have any toxic relationships? And by toxic relationships, I mean negative people that you associate with on a regular basis. What's a regular basis? I would say more than 3 or 4 hours a week. That's a regular basis. Why is it so imperative not to associate with negative people? Negative people are like stop signs on the road or the path to success. They stop you in your tracks. not only does their negativity drag you down, but they throw wrenches into the works. Usually negative people or toxic people, they have things that go wrong in their life. And when you're trying to pursue success, you can get a phone call from one of these toxic people and say, hey, I need you to bail me out of jail, or I need this, or I've got to do this, and I need your help immediately. And you've got to drop what you're doing because they're a friend, they're a relationship. So what you want to do is kind of weed them out, spend less and less time with them. And how much time is the right amount of time? Well, 0. But I would say try and keep it to less than an hour a week.
Sure, because hanging around the wrong people demotivate you and you have the wrong sort of conversations. I think another important question to ask yourself, Tom, is how much time do you spend on improving yourself? How much study do you do?
That's right. How much do you know about the industry that you work in? How much do you know about the people that work in the industry that you're in? You want to read everything you can about your industry. And if you don't do the reading, it's probably because you hate the industry you're in and you should probably get the heck out of it. If you're not reading every day about your industry, about what's going on in your industry and what the big influencers are doing in your industry, then get the heck out, because you're not going to get very far. You're only going to eke out a living. The ones who have the most success are the ones that have their fingers on the pulse of what's going on in their industry and in their careers.
Tom, I recently watched, I was on a plane, The Trip Making Warren Buffett, and a great story about Warren Buffett is how much time he spends still today reading and learning and on self-improvement. But that's because he's passionate about it. That's because he loves his industry, as you said a moment ago. So that's probably another very good question, isn't it? What am I passionate about? What do I enjoy doing?
Yeah. So when you find something that you love or that you're passionate about, you're going to devote an enormous amount of time to it. You're going to actually wake up in the morning and the first thought you're going to have is, oh, I can't wait to start doing what I love to do. I love to write. So every morning I wake up at about 4:45, 4:30 in the morning, and I spend about 2 hours reading and writing. It's not work to me. That 2 hours flies by so fast, and I regret when it's over. So you have to find something that really makes your heart sing, Michael, that makes you want to get up in the morning and, throw your arms up and say, hey, I can't believe it. Another day. I can't wait to start doing what I love to do.
Well, discussing these questions about what we should think about, question about, so we can have a more productive life and change our life, I guess another question could well be, well, I'm doing productive things, but how much time am I wasting? Because when you look at people's, the end of the day and what people have achieved, you tend to spend quite a few unproductive hours, don't you?
Yeah, and there's quite a few studies I have on this, and this is really surprising. So on average, people waste about 6 hours a day. And, a lot of that wasted time is actually at work. They're checking their social media. They're making phone calls. They're surfing the web. When Big Brother's not watching, they're watching something on the internet, or they're wasting time. And then when they get home, they continue to waste their time. They'll watch TV for 2 or 3 hours, or they'll get on the internet again and they'll start, spend an hour before they know it, an hour and a half on Facebook or whatever. And it's just such a waste of time. So you have to ask yourself, do I waste time, and how much time do I waste every day? Now, you may not want to ask yourself these questions. That's fine. You really don't want to be successful if you don't want to ask yourself these questions. My point is this: if you really want to be successful in life, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. You have to really get to know yourself. And these questions, asking these questions like, how much time do I waste every day? It's not about, doing it because successful people doing it. It's about doing it because you want to better your life.
So it's, I guess, a form of self-awareness. So the 5 questions, just quickly repeating them, are: who are my mentors, or who could be my mentors? What are my relationships like, and do I have toxic relationships, and who could I let go? How much self-study do I do? How much self-improvement do I do? What am I passionate about? What can I pursue? What do I love doing? And the 5th one's a great one. Well, how much time am I wasting in the day? There's some great lessons there, some real gold, Tom. Thank you very much. Now, if the viewers have enjoyed this, then please pass it forward to somebody else. If you're watching this on Facebook, share it around. If you've got the link through Twitter, pass it on to other people. If you're on our websites, just click the social media button as well, and let some other people find out these good questions as well. Thanks for your time, Tom, and I look forward to catching up with you again next week.
Yeah, I can't wait, Michael.